Good morning again. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the family members of our fallen who are attending today's ceremony. Please remain standing for the CBP Field Operations Academy Honor Guard, posting of the colors, the singing of the national anthem by CBP student Jenny Brazil, and the invocation by ATF Special Agent Antonio Pittman.
Set, park.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that stars spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order, park. Stop, park. Very post, order, halt. Post.
Let us bow our heads in remembrance. Today we are here to honor those that have served our country and have given their lives so that we may stand here and still live in freedom. We remind ourselves of the great gift of freedom and of those who gave all to make sure future generations continue to know life in a free, democratic society. John 15:13 teaches, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." Remembering those who have passed is half of the task that is before us today. We must also carry their love, honor, and duty forward to future generations to come. Our children must know who they were, what they did, and why they did it. To do anything less would be a disservice to their sacrifice and their memory. So today at this memorial dedication, let us remember those that are gone. Let us remember that they created a clear pathway for us to continue. We must never waver from the path of freedom and democracy. Take their memories, take their dreams, and walk forward shouldering the cause of freedom. Carry it high and proud. They paid the ultimate sacrifice, and now you must walk forward for them and for our children. Our Father refreshes and restores our lives. He leads us in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Father, we thank you for restoration and protection. We ask that you continue to watch over us as you had these brave men and women to do. We ask for continued blessings in your name. Amen.
Please be seated. Good morning again. Joining me on the stage this morning are FLETC Deputy Director William Fallon and Acting ICE Director Matthew Albans. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you our Deputy Director, William Fallon. Mr. Fallon was appointed as the Deputy Director of FLETC effective May 1st, 2016. In his capacity as Deputy Director, Mr. Fallon oversees all operations related to the development and delivery of collaborative law enforcement training for more than 95 FLETC participating organizations across 4 FLETC domestic training delivery points here in Glencoe, Georgia, Charleston, South Carolina, Cheltenham, Maryland, and Artesia, New Mexico. Immediately prior to his selection as the Deputy Director, Mr. Fallon served as the Assistant Director for the United States Marshal Service Training Division and became a member of the Senior Executive Service in 2011. Mr. Fallon served in numerous operational command positions throughout his 28-year career with the Marshal Service all across the nation. Deputy Director Fallon received a master's degree in National Security and Strategic Studies from the United States Naval War College and Bachelor of Science degree from Westfield State University. Please help me in welcoming Deputy Director Fallon.
Good morning. On behalf of Director Thomas Walters, the men and women of FLETC, and our participating organizations, I would like to welcome you to the 2019 FLETC Peace Officers Memorial Day Ceremony. Thank you for being with us today. I would also like to welcome everyone that is participating from our other sites via the VTEL at our sites in Artesia, Charleston, Cheltenham, and our Washington, D.C. office. This ceremony is to honor 12 FLETC graduates who made the ultimate sacrifice in law enforcement service this past year, and in some cases in previous years. Their names are now engraved in granite just outside on our Graduates Memorial, along with 225 other law enforcement officers as a permanent tribute to them, their families, and their contributions. As we reflect today, I encourage you to remember our law enforcement officers who gave everything to protect us, our country, and our freedom. I salute all of you here today that are active and retired law enforcement officers. Instructors and staff, you are here because you are dedicated to a very important mission. Every day you prepare FLETC students to operate in dangerous situations. Your dedication, guidance, and shared experiences are what leads to their success. We sincerely appreciate your valuable work and the example that you set for our students. Partner organization representatives, thank you for being part of our law enforcement family. We value the support and contributions you provide to our students, all the students that we train together at all our sites. We prepare our future law enforcement together, and I am proud of what we accomplish each and every day. State and local law enforcement, we are proud to have you with us today as you support our your brothers and sisters on the federal side. Your presence here today is a reflection of just how strong the Blue Line is. Thank you for always being by our side. Community members and elected officials, your attendance is proof of your support to our organization. Whether that support is shown by housing our students, embracing our staff, or speaking for us before Congress, your impact is great, and we know we can always count on you. To our students, you are in the middle of various training programs designed to make you successful in operating in the field. The nation's best instructors are preparing you for the ever-changing demands on law enforcement. We take great responsibility and pride knowing that our graduates have the skills to meet these demands. Today we have the families of Deputy United States Marshal Christopher Hill and Deputy United States Marshal Chase White. Both Chris and Chase gave their lives in the line of duty in 2018 and are being honored here today. Many of us here today knew Chris in his role helping us many times as an adjunct instructor. Many of us knew Chase from his days as a basic student just a few short years ago. In the family of Customs and Border Protection Agent Jason Penedez, who fell in line of duty in 2001 and was honored at our ceremony in 2012. Thank you for coming to support our ceremony again this year. We are honored that all of you came to FLETC today to help us remember your loved ones. I can only hope that our service today shows how much all 12 deputies, officers, and agents meant to all of us. They were our family as well. Thank you so much for being here today. Again, thank you everyone for being here today to help us remember our fallen heroes. Now it's my honor to introduce today's keynote speaker, Matthew Albans. Matt is the Deputy Director and Acting Director for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. He was selected by Department of Homeland Security Acting Secretary Kevin McAleenan in April of 2019 to lead the nation's vital immigration and enforcement efforts. As ICE's senior leader, he oversees a workforce of more than 20,000 officers, special agents, and mission support professionals with a budget over $7 billion. Prior to his selection as Deputy Director, Matt served as the agency's Executive Associate Director for Enforcement and Removal Operations, leading ERO in its mission to identify, arrest, and remove aliens who present a danger to national security or public safety, as well as those who enter the United States illegally or otherwise undermine the integrity of our immigration laws and our border control efforts. He was appointed Executive Associate Director in February 2017, where he led an organization of more than 7,600 employees assigned to 24 ERO field offices and 22 overseas locations. Previously, Matt served as the Assistant Director for the ERO Enforcement Division, where he was responsible for all ERO enforcement programs and initiatives. Acting Director Albans has 25 years of federal law enforcement experience, beginning his career in San Antonio as a special agent with the former U.S. Immigration and Naturalization Service in 1994. He was promoted in 1999 to Supervisory Special Agent in San Antonio. Mr. Albans has held numerous leadership positions to include Deputy Assistant Director for Investigations and Associate Special Agent in charge in Chicago, Deputy Special Agent in charge in Detroit, Unit Chief for ICE Office of Investigations Training Academy here at Glencoe, TSA Deputy Special Agent in charge of South Central Regional Field Office, and Deputy Assistant Director for the ERO Criminal Alien Division. Acting Director Albans holds both a bachelor's degree in justice and a master's degree in the administration of justice. He's a member of the Senior Executive Service. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Matthew Albans.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here. And I don't know if Officer Basile is still in here, but that was an outstanding rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. I can't remember one better than that, and we've done lots of ceremonies and graduations in this building and in other places, so if she's still here, thank you for that. That was tremendous. Oh, you are here, good. So, good afternoon. Thank you, Deputy Director Fallon, for that kind introduction. A little long, but kind anyway. And thank you all for joining us as we take time to recognize and pay tribute to the brave officers and agents who made the ultimate sacrifice while serving the American people. Before I continue, I want to acknowledge and thank the outstanding team of leaders, educators, and staff here at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center for continuing this essential tradition and inviting me to participate today. This is a reminder of the impossible debt we owe those we have lost along the way and the families they have left behind. For so many of us, including myself, the journey of our commitment to federal law enforcement begins here at FLETC. The critical knowledge, skills, and abilities we gain and develop throughout our careers are honed and sharpened whenever we return to this outstanding campus for additional or refresher training opportunities. Because of what you do here, we are prepared to succeed in the face of criminal behavior and violence perpetrated by individuals and organizations determined to do us and our nation great harm. The solemn oath we swear to serve and protect our fellow citizens carries with it the constant risk that we may each be called upon any time to give, as Abraham Lincoln called it, the last full measure of our devotion. Defending the liberty of our nation provides us as a birthright. I also want to offer my thanks and my gratitude to each of the federal agencies and local law enforcement partners represented here this morning. The American law enforcement community is the family we chose, and ceremonies such as this make that simple declaration abundantly clear. Families like ours celebrate each other's success, and we welcome new members with enthusiasm, supporting each when support is needed at most. Families like ours also return home to grieve when a brother or sister is taken too soon. Begun in May of 1986, our federal law enforcement family has returned to FLETC for the last 33 years to do exactly that, arriving here at the quiet crossroads of professional tradition and family obligation. Our shared commitment to protect and serve the American people carries with it the somber duties of tribute and remembrance. Today, we are adding the name of 12 fallen officers and agents to the FLETC Graduate Memorial, which now honors the lives and careers of 237 heroes our family has lost since FLETC first opened its doors in 1970. The 12 names today represent 6 federal agencies that lost officers this year, including the U.S. Marshals Service, U.S. Secret Service, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the National Nuclear Security Administration, and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the agency I proudly serve. Later this month, we will welcome to ICE headquarters family members representing the 5 Homeland Security Investigation special agents being honored here today. In addition to their place on the FLETC Graduate Memorial, their names have been added to our country's National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Wall in Washington, and on the Wall of Heroes at ICE headquarters, where their heroism, their courage, and their service will be forever memorialized. One of the special agents we lost in 2018 was Timothy Allen Ensley, who succumbed to an illness he contracted while serving overseas in Singapore. His loss reflects the global nature of our work and the relentless commitment we have to seek justice, whatever the cost. Tim's dedication to the success of our agency's child exploitation unit represents the best of all of us and all that we strive to accomplish, especially our efforts to protect the most innocent among us. It is also important to note that the 4 remaining HSI special agents we are honoring this year succumbed to deadly illnesses traced back to their heroic service in the immediate aftermath of the September 11, 2001 attacks. Their names are Special Agent Dennis McCarthy, Special Agent Thomas Weischerth, Special Agent Robert Williams, and Special Agent Edward Smith. On the morning of September 11th, these brave men answered the call to join their brothers and sisters to secure the destroyed U.S. Customs House at Ground Zero and to assist in the critical evidence recovery efforts in the weeks and months that followed. Our nation and our law enforcement family at every level will carry the wounds from that day for generations to come, and we must never forget, despite the steady passage of time, that our agency and the department we serve were stood up as a critical part of this country's swift and firm response to those cowardly acts of unprovoked aggression. Whenever I am asked about our mission and what keeps me up at night, the first thing that comes to mind is the fear of learning that one of my officers or agents did not make it home to their family at the end of the day. Looking around, I am certain I am not alone in this regard. While I do not know the profound grief that a husband, a wife, a parent, or a child feels when their family is shaken to its core by such a devastating loss, I can say without hesitation that I value the safety and well-being of every ICE employee as I do the lives of my own family. We are bound in this community by our steady commitment to serve and our dedication to enforcing the law. Our efforts, together with those of our partners throughout the country and around the world, strengthen national security and uphold public safety for all Americans. Whether you serve our nation at the local, state, or federal level, you are all heroes in my book. We are in a time when our shared dedication to the rule of law is being challenged and tested by the unprecedented humanitarian and national security crisis unfolding along our southern border. Our commitment to standing shoulder to shoulder with our brothers and sisters across the country in service to all Americans is critical to our ability to meet these challenges and keep our nation secure. The public has entrusted us with this vital mission, and it is ours to carry out together. Thank you once again for inviting me to be a part of this important tradition. I am grateful for the opportunity, and I appreciate the dedication of the outstanding men and women of FLETC who add strength, resilience, and determination to our federal law enforcement family every day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Albans. The names of the fallen will be read by Uniform Police Training Program student Alexander Anzavine, Criminal Investigator Training Program student Gerardo Carranza, and CBP Officer Basic Training student Lorena Sandoval. The names of the area state and local officers who died in the line of duty will be read by our own Glenn County Police Chief, John Powell.
Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Eddie Benitez, John F. Capano, Conway C. Blue, Johnny A. Massingale, Todd W. McKeon, Kimberly D. Place, Scott Ragsdale, Ariel Rios, William C. Sheldon Jr., David E. Sullivan, Robert J. Williams, Stephen D. Willis, Bureau of Indian Affairs, Michael G. Miller, Defford Oyibe, Creighton T. Spencer, Bureau of Prisons, Osvaldo O. Albarati, Daniel J. Breyer, Robert F. Miller, Jose V. Riviera, Gary L. Rowe, D'Antonio H. Washington, Alfredo D. Williams, Eric J. Williams, Scott J. Williams, Department of Agriculture, Office of the Inspector General, Nelson R. Harmon, Department of Housing and Urban Development, Office of the Inspector General, Paul Brocksterman, Department of Justice, Office of the Inspector General, William Buddy Sentner III, Department of State, Patrick J. Henry, Ronald A. LaRiviere, Daniel E. O'Connor, Department of Transportation, Office of Inspector General, David J. Hofler, Diplomatic Security Service, Edward J. Seitz, Stephen E. Sullivan, Drug Enforcement Administration, Arthur L. Cash, Thomas J. Devine, Ricky C. Finley, Richard Heath Jr., Hector Jordan, George M. Montoya, William Ramos, Raymond Stasny. Environmental Protection Agency, David R. DeLitta, William T. Parr. Federal Protection Service, Robert P. Dana, Michael J. Doyle, William J. Martin, Ronald C. Sheffield, Robert W. Yasusevitz, Immigration and Naturalization Service, Ernest Bowman, Tommy K. Chin, Robert F. Jenkins, Jr., Anthony S. Minetto, Lawrence B. Pierce, Juan G. Reyes Oriana, Robert M. Smith, Internal Revenue Service, David H. Fike, Julio D. La Rosa, Richard I. Lute, Alex Moran, Robert E. Rohrer, Howard R. Stewart Houston, National Nuclear Security Administration, Office of Secure Transportation, Christopher D. Youngberg, National Park Service, Margaret A. Anderson, Robert W. Barron, Chris Eggle, Joseph D. Kolodsky, Robert E. Mon Jr., Stephen R. Makuakani Jarrell, Dwayne P. McClure, Robert L. McGee, Daniel P. Madrid, Thomas P. O'Hara, Christopher Nickel, Julie A. Weir, Naval Criminal Investigation Service, Douglas B. Cosina, Jerry W. Kramer, Thomas P. Marzilli.
Pentagon Force Protection Agency, James M. Feltus III. Social Security Administration, Office of the Inspector General, Stephen P. Shaw. Tennessee Valley Authority, Timothy P. Huckabee. U.S. Air Force Office of Special Investigations, Ryan A. Balmer, Michael A. Cinco, Matthew J. Kugligs, Daniel J. Kuhlmeyer, Chester J. McBride III, Nathan J. Schulhis, Peter W. Taub, Adriana M. Warderbruggen, David A. Uyghur. U.S. Capitol Police, James T. Chapin, Jacob J. Chestnut, Christopher S. Eney, John M. Gibson, James A. Griffith, Clinton J. Holtz. U.S. Customs Service, Renaud R. Behai, Charles J. Bokinski, James A. Buxell, David A. Carter, David E. DeLoach, Gary P. Friedley, Paul D. Ice, Alan J. Klump, Richard M. Latham, Timothy C. McCregan, Claude A. Medeiros, Glenn R. Miles Sr., Pedro J. Rodriguez, George R. Sines, George J. Spencer, Carl R. Talufas, James D. Taylor, Manuel Zurieta VII. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, Christopher T. Bacon. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, Air and Marine, Julio E. Borre, Robert F. Smith, Clinton B. Thrasher. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, U.S. Border Patrol, Manuel A. Alvarez, Luis A. Aguilar, Travis W. Attaway, Jose D. Barraza, Jefferson L. Barr, Eric N. Cabral, Leopoldo F. Cavazos Jr., Hector R. Clark, Charles F. Collins II, George B. DeBates, David R. Delaney, Jesus de la Osa, Jared C. Dittman, James R. Dominguez, Roberto J. Duran, James P. Eplig, Michael V. Gallagher, Alexander I. Giannini, Richard Goldstein, David Gomez, Nicholas D. Greenig, Eloy Hernandez, Catherine M. Hill, Nicholas J. Ivy, Daniel M. James Jr., John D. Keenan, Alexander Kripnick, Xavier G. Magdaleno, Josiah B. Mahar, Miguel J. Maldonado Jr., Rogelio Martinez, John R. McCravey, Cruz C. McGuire, Isaac Morales, Jose A. Nava, Ramon Nevares Jr.
Victor C. Ochoa, Walter S. Panchinson, Jason C. Panidis, Jeffrey Ramirez, Tyler R. Robledo, Susan L. Rodriguez, Eduardo Rojas Jr., Robert W. Rosas Jr., Manuel Salcido Jr., Norman Ray Salinas, Ricardo G. Salinas, Luis A. Santiago, Stephen C. Starch, Stephen M. Sullivan, Brian A. Terry, David J. Torsher, Mark F. Van Doren, Aurelio E. Valencia, Javier Vega Jr., David Villarreal, David N. Webb, Joseph R. White, Thomas J. Williams, Jeremy M. Wilson, Daryl J. Winhouse, John R. Sykes, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Thomas P. Clougherty, Richard J. Guadagno, Douglas J. Morris, U.S. Forest Service, Stephen A. Bowman, Jason M. Crisp, Christine M. Fairbanks, Brent K. Jacobson, Michael R. Smith, Michael L. Staples, Christopher A. Upton, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Brian Pexon Belso, Timothy A. Inslee, Lorenzo R. Gomez, Dennis P. McCarthy, Jeremy Scott McGuire, Edward J. Smith, David G. Wilhelm, Robert T. Williams, Thomas M. Wischurth, Jaime J. Zapata, U.S. Marshal Service, Bucky E. Burke, Patrick Thomas Carruthers, Robert S. Cheshire Jr., William F. Deegan Jr., Kenneth Doyle, Roy L. Frakes, Christopher D. Hill, Peter P. Hillman, Derek W. Hodsonpiller, John B. Perry, Zacarios Toro Jr., Josie Lamar Wells, Chase S. White, U.S. Mint, Ted M. Chanel, U.S. Park Police, Michael A. Boehm, Hakeem A. Farthing, Ricardo M. Preston, U.S. Postal Service, Office of the Inspector General, Greg R. Boss. U.S. Secret Service, Donald A. Bacek, Cynthia C. Brown, Richard T. Cleary, James S. Collins, Daniel M. Connolly, Julie Y. Cross, Scott E. Deaton, Hector L. Diaz, J. Clifford Dietrich, Miles Colin Johnson, Philip C. Labid, Donald R. Leonard, Mickey B. Maroney, Manuel J. Marrero Otero, Noel Remagen, Donald W. Robinson, James M. Ryan, Christopher James Smith, Stuart P. Watkins, Alan G. Witcher.
Brunswick Police Department, Cleveland R. Christian, Melvin E. Collins, Herbert D. Copeland, Rexford N. Deaver, Robert L. Massey, Horace E. Thompson, Marvin M. Wilder, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, William L. DeLoach, Frank M. Ellerby, Garland E. Fields, John T. King III, Robert M. Cook, Troy L. Pierce Sr., Georgia Department of Natural Resources, Lonnie F. Bogus, William L. Bryant, William E. Hobbs, Charles C. Mercer, Jr., Robert C. Sizemore, Asa E. Thornton, Rocky D. Wainwright, James H. Waller, Georgia State Patrol, William G. Andrews, Jr., John F. Bass, Jr., William F. Black, Jr., Larry P. Collins, Tyrone C. Dillard, Charles E. Gray, George W. Harrelson, Wilton L. Harrell, Don F. Langston, Chadwick T. LaCroix, Frederick H. Looney, Tony M. Lumley, Roy C. Macy, John D. Morris, Harvey L. Nicholson, Ronald E. O'Neill, Mark A. Page, Ben L. Sentinel, Keith H. Sewell, James K. Stewart, Billy A. Tanner, Edward C. Taylor, Victor H. Turpin, Clyde A. Wehunt, James D. Young, Michael D. Young, Glenn County Police, James C. Coleman, Robert L. Freeman, George A. Krause, William M. Lee. Glenn County Sheriff's Office, Charles L. Harrington.
Please stand for the retiring of the colors while family members and agency designees leave the building, followed by the benediction by United States Secret Service Special Agent Donald Spears.
Right turn, march. Present, park. Order, park. Retreat, retreat, halt. Left turn, park. Right.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you today remembering all those who have come before us that have given their lives while working to protect our families, our homes, our communities, and our way of life. Help us to remember, support, and pray for their families. But most of all, help us to remember to honor their loss by always serving with honor, humility, and professionalism. Help us to remember to be a positive influence on everyone we meet, and to remember that our every word and action should be a fitting tribute to their sacrifice. And to our fallen brothers, sisters, partners, and friends, whose memories continue to guide us, we honor you. Rest in peace, and know that you will never be forgotten.
As you leave the auditorium, you are cordially invited to visit the FLETC Graduates Memorial outside the main exit. This concludes our ceremony this morning. Thank you for joining us.